Merry Christmas, everyone. Ian Patrick here. And tonight I'm doing something very different, something I've never done on my YouTube channel before. I'm reviewing an episode of The Twilight Zone, which is one of my all-time favorite shows. And I especially love watching The Twilight Zone during the holidays, usually on New Year's Eve, because there's always a Twilight Zone marathon on TV. But tonight we're reviewing one of the Christmas episodes of the Twilight Zone called The Night of the Meek, and it came out December 23rd, 1960. And this episode was actually written by Rod Serling right here, who was, of course, the host and creator of the show. Now, this episode stars Art Carney. He plays the Santa Claus character, and John Fiedler, who is sort of the store manager of the Macy's-like store. For those who don't know, Meek means those who are quiet, gentle, and easily imposed on. And the title of this episode comes from a Matthew quote from the Bible, and it is, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." Now, this episode, it starts out at a bar, and Art Carney, I'll just call him Santa from here out. Santa is drinking. He's taking shots, and he's obviously drunk. And honestly, Art Carney was just such a great actor and so good at playing a drunk Santa, and sort of showing all the emotions in this episode. So Santa's taking shots, and note the scene where he reaches out to grab the bottle from the bartender, and he basically says, "Santa, beat it." That was pretty funny. And after he leaves the bar, these two children come up to him, and you can hear the sadness in the children's voices saying, "Santa, please, we just want our dad to have a job." And it's snowing. It's a beautiful set. It's snowing and it looks cold, and they ask Art Carney, they ask Santa for this, and Santa, he starts crying, and you just can see the emotion in his face. And really, this relates to even today's time in 2020, because so many people have lost their jobs due to what's going on, and it really relates to right now, and a lot of people can resonate with that sentiment of those children. But then it cuts scenes to where Santa goes to the store, to the Macy's-like store, and John Fiedler, who a lot of people will recognize his voice because he played Piglet in the Winnie the Pooh series, he's getting onto him, calling him a drunk, and just saying really mean things. And Santa goes up, fumbling, stumbling all over, and he has a sort of a brat kid sit on his lap, tells him what he wants for Christmas. And Art Carney, he just basically falls over and ends up getting fired from his job. But I want to note that the setting was really beautiful. It really gets you in the Christmas spirit. So this is definitely perfect to watch at Christmas time, because you see the trains and all the little kids wanting, presents. But I especially want to pay attention to the scene where he does get fired, because Art Carney just delivers such an amazing speech to his manager, basically crying, and you just see the emotion in his face. And he says, it's just incredible acting, and it just shows how acting in TV from the 60s and 50s was just amazing compared to today. I mean, those actors, Art Carney from then, could be easily be in Netflix series or movies of today, just because their acting is so good. And while he's giving this speech, I love how it cuts scene to all the little kids looking at him, sort of confused, why is Santa acting this way? And Art Carney, Santa says, "Just one Christmas, I'd like to see the meek inherit the earth." And really, Art Carney's emotion was just so strong throughout the entire episode. And we then are taken on sort of this magical adventure where Art Carney, Santa, finds this magic bag. And I don't want to give the whole episode away, so I'm just going to leave it at that, where he finds a bag and he goes on a Christmas adventure. So the final scene, I will talk about. The final scene, this little, so spoiler alert, come back if you haven't watched it yet. A little elf girl shows up, and I just want to note how you can barely hear what she's saying to him. And I noticed right away that this episode sort of seemed different from all the other Twilight Zone episodes, because the set felt like a play, or it even felt like a soap opera set, and it's because of the film that they used. The quality of the film just wasn't as good as other Twilight Zone episodes, and the reason for this is because production had to cut costs due to exceeding their budget on the season already. So 5 consecutive episodes, this was season 2 of Twilight Zone, 5 episodes were filmed with this quality videotape, which caused the loss of depth of visual perspective, and you can totally see it right away, which gives that sort of soap opera-y theater vibe. This 5-episode experiment was a pretty big failure, and the production felt like it wasn't worth it because they only saved $30,000 by doing this on 5 episodes, and a normal episode usually costs $65,000 to make an episode of The Twilight Zone. The last thing I want to note about this episode was that originally at the end of the episode, Rod Serling says, "And a Merry Christmas to each and all." Now, and he originally said that when it came out in 1960. Starting from the 80s on, they took this out at the very end of the episode, probably due to political reasons, I'm not sure. But if you watch this episode, most of the episodes are on Netflix, so I recommend watch on Netflix, watch anywhere you can. They brought that back, and you can hear the quality is different. It's like they had to edit it back in, so just note that. So it's nice to hear that you can hear Rod Serling say, "And a Merry Christmas to all." And to you all, I send you and your families a Merry Christmas.